Hey people, I found in the Bible where it tells exactly who these lizard people are, how they disguise themselves like chameleons, and it give a better idea of meanings of the Ankh. And they got it stashed here in Leviticus over here under the things that you're not supposed to eat. You know, the monitor lizard, the sand reptile, the sand lizard, and the chameleon, large lizard, gecko, the mouse and mole, the things that creep on the earth that you should not eat. But if you look at all these creepy things, you know, the mole only one time, and the mouse twice, and the mole, you know, they say exact meaning unknown, perhaps an extinct animal. And the lizard, you know, one of one time, a large lizard, and perhaps a tortoise, or a covered wagon, or an extinct animal, exact meaning unknown. And the gecko, one of one time, unclean animal, ferret, a shrew, perhaps an extinct animal, exact meaning unknown. The monitor lizard, one of one time, strength, power, might, the strength of angels, power of God. A small reptile, probably a kind of lizard which is unclean, perhaps an extinct animal, exact meaning unknown. The sand reptile, just one time, kind of lizard, perhaps an extinct animal, unknown. The sand lizard, one time, perhaps extinct, meaning unknown. And the chameleon, one of two times, an animal of some kind, unclean bird, perhaps the ibis, a water hen, species of owl, barn owl, unclean lizard, perhaps a chameleon, perhaps an extinct lizard or bird, exact meaning unknown. So what it's saying is they just made all this shit up. They have no idea what any of these animals was, and they was just guessing. And they really weren't even guessing, they were purposely trying to mislead. You know, this word that comes up twice in the King James, the same place, they'll say it's a snail, and the mole is the chameleon, the sand reptile, and the chameleon. And here in 14, it says that it's a white owl, and the swan. So it appears they didn't try to translate this, they tried to mistranslate it. It's starting a new paragraph here. You can see how this last one ends here with the seal. And this word's country is hell, and you're not going to get it. I'm going to have to show you this word here first. You know, this is the word for chameleon, but it's actually reading with this word up here, this part, you know, the HM, the part where the comet is, and the come to. It's a come to it. The come to it ends mit being with, you know, and we come to the THU is the destination, and we come to it enzum it. We come it to enzum it. And that's some old country redneck talking there, you know. We come to it enzum it. You know, we blend into it. So this first word that starts this paragraph is, you know, wuzzle come. And it's redneck, you know. And if you're telling a story of the past, and this is what happened next, you know, wuzzle come, you know, and then. But this is going with this next word, you know, in itum. And wuzzle committum, in sorts, is rich. All its, and then the ash here, the AE becomes the ES. And this is re, and then the other way, ARX. All its research. Wuzzle committum in sorts is rich, all its research. You know, among the creepy things that creep on the earth, in sorts is rich, all its research. The cold, you know, the cold. In all its research, the cold. And voke, VEOK, and then the BR reading over here with the brew. And invoke Bruits in of menu. Wazocommittum in sorts. The type of is rich. The type of is rich, all its research. The cold, voke, voke, to call upon, to voke a brew, to cook one up. And it's in of menu, leave menu like the French. And so voke is meaning, the vehicle. It kind of means how it got there. Vehicle is one of the three parts of a paint. It's the way it's applied, what kind of thinner. And so this Voke bar, this is the mouse that's in your hand right now. It's the vehicle you use, the Voke bar, the Vetsin, the Vetsible menu. And Vetsible, V-E-T-S. Vets means to investigate, to look into thoroughly, especially in order to ensure that they are suitable for a job requiring secrecy, loyalty, trustworthiness. They have to be vetted, they have to be looked into. The Vexible menu. And so, in the mouse, that I look into in the menu is the one in my hand. And so it tells me they were probably using mice, ancient times, to run through conduit. Some contractors do it today on big buildings. They have trained mice to drag the wires through the conduit when they're wiring up a building. They use mice. The Vulcaner, to look into. The Vexen, to look into of menu. But back in the day, this was your mouse and this was your menu. But back before that, this was your mouse and this was your menu. You throw your game board down, you throw your beads down. And you see it here in the next word, Invexen of menu. And the Ankh, the A-N-Q-E. And so this is where the word Hanukkah come from. And Hanukkah week, W-E-K-H. Then Hanukkah week, Welts. This is the Welsh, the W-L-T. And then A-E is ash, the Weltish, the Welsh. But it also means Velt, E-S-U-E, the Velt issue. And I found a better meaning for that. The Welts, they'll just use that at A-E-V-E. And that's where our word even come from. It means the time. And so your issue is time. And the Velt, in the week, Velt, is to overturn, to topple, to turn. In most languages it's used. To roll, coming from velen, to fell, to cut down. And this diphthong, the A-T is just, some people knew to read this as the E-S-U-E, the issue. But it's Old Norse, for eternity. It's a period of time. But the Velets were a local, lesser armed army. Your local police force. You don't want to give them enough strength to stand up against the army. So Wazocommittum in sorts is rich of all its research. The ones who committed in the sorts of people that is rich of all its research of the cold, and hackover, and hack in, and hackover vexit, the vexin, to look all into of the menu. And Hanukkah week, the velts, the rolls issue, come to, come to a tinums mit, come to a tinums with. And so this word weltish, it's coming from their god was ash, the A-E was the ash, and that's what ashu means. They're up north there, ashu, and to roll ashu, their god ash comes and visits them, and that's how they called his name, ashu. And ashu comes, and the sneeze comes it, and Hanukkah week, and rolls the ashu comes to it, inums it. They sneak it right on in. Your ashu come to it, ends them. But when you know that this AE is the ES, this becomes the tissue. That's where your word tissue come from. It was for the god Ashu, sneeze, the one that created the stars. And it's also, the veil in the skin tissue. Come to it, enums with, changing chameleon. And so, this Ankh is also Anki, the Sumerian god, the one that created the people, and the Anki. And so that's what you're celebrating during Hanukkah, is Anki. And that's the one they called Satan. He was a serpent in Anki week, in the gecko and the monitor lizard in Anki week. And so this is also Fiva, F-E-V-E, the Fiva catch. And we on Fiva catch the Weltish. We come to it in the mit. So Hanukkah is the ancient Welsh celebration. Back before the Jews and the Egyptians, the Welsh were celebrating Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is when we catch the Velt issue, the turn issue of the veil tissue, of the skin tissue, the come to it enumsmit, and you're celebrating the shedding of the serpent. And you read on down here, and it lets you know that, you're shedding your fake skin that you wore all year, and you're becoming the real serpent that you are. And it'll hint to that down through here a little farther down. But that's what it is, they're talking to the dead. Shed the skin, talk to the dead. So this word for the chameleon, that we come to it intimate. That's why it could mean an owl also. Owl or a swan or the great white. Here they say it means and the white owl, and the... It's at Suki, backwards, S-U-K-E. At Suki cuss. At Suki cuss what? And so Suki is, favorite, at the favorite, and cuss, to give use, to give the connected secret, to give the word, the cuss. And at Suki, cuss what? And then it's backwards. And so this is cuisine, Q-U-S-N-I-E, cuisine. At your favorite cuisine, what you eat the most in. The favorite cuisine in soup. We tins 'em it. We tins 'em with. At your favorite cuss what? Cuisine. We got your favorite food here. Is the soup. And that's where they're getting the grape from. The super. And in soup we tins with. We tins 'em it. We tins with. We tins to. So it's not pointing out any one type of bird here. It's just the cuisine, one of the birds. And it's not even saying the bird yet. It's just, the cuisine of what you like to eat. And then ends up, ends up. Up is the bird. What's above is what they're getting at from. And so you have to read more into this chapter before you see exactly what bird it's talking about. But best chances are it's talking about a bird on one of the flags. A chicken, probably. And it says a lot more in here, just reading the letters as you go on down. You come back up and notice more. And then when you're reading with the under points, it comes, and who hold it, and who hold it of whove. Whose hold it you beware of who behoove you. Who hold it of whove. And so after you read it all the times, all the markings, then you can see it talking about the serpents. But I'll have to split this one up. That'll get too long. And nobody likes part 2, so I'm definitely going to put this big serpent number 2 on the front of it. Because I know if you made it this far, you're going to be interested in the rest of this. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.